Hi everyone, I am excited to be able to show you in this video the Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette by Urban Decay. As I'm sure you all know, Urban Decay has launched a Game of Thrones themed collection, which includes not only this eyeshadow palette, but also a highlighting palette, a lip and cheek stain, some eyeliners, and also some lipsticks and specially designed brushes. In this video, we're specifically going to look at the eyeshadow palette. I will do live swatches of all of the shades inside for you and give you my first impressions and thoughts on the quality of the palette itself. So if this is something you are interested in, make sure you keep watching. Also make sure you are subscribed to the channel. There is a giveaway currently going on. If you want details for that, please make sure you check out the Mac L Seed collection. I am giving away some of the items from that collection. I'll link that in the upper right hand corner for you to see. And of course, make sure you check out the latest video if you haven't seen that yet. That was this month's What's New in Beauty and Updated Reviews video. So not only do you get to get a sneak peek into a bunch of new and upcoming products, but you will also get some idea of some of the other makeup products that I will be giving away in the future. There is a very, very large giveaway with thousands of dollars worth of product being given to multiple winners. Of course, you have to be a subscriber here and a follower on Instagram if you want to be eligible for those giveaways. Handle to the Instagram account is in the description box below, so make sure that you are following on all those platforms. Make sure you stay tuned because soon I will be posting a video with recommendations on products and how to get the most out of Sephora's upcoming spring sale. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on videos like that. All right, let's get looking at the Urban Decay Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. So quickly as background, this collection launched through Urban Decay's website. It sold out fairly quickly, and Urban Decay, as of making this video, has not restocked those items, although they say they are going to. In terms of other retailers that you can access this collection through, there's Sephora and Ulta. It should be launching through Sephora on April 29th and in stores on May 2nd. I will put links in the description box below to where you can find the collection to purchase it. And you might want to keep that bookmark so that you can access it easily the morning of the launch. I think that given that they are going to be launching this through multiple retailers, that there should be a large supply available for people. And they know that a lot of people are crazy about Game of Thrones. So I expect that you will have the opportunity to be able to purchase these items. You also have the option to purchase the entire vault, which is everything in the collection. That Game of Thrones vault retails for $250. So here is the Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. All of these things in this collection are limited edition, and this palette retails for $65. So starting off with the outer box itself, you have the front and then also the back, which might be important to you because it lists the shade names on the back. And you can see by the sides of the box that this is kind of in the design of, or reminiscent of, a book. And then the same goes for the palette itself, same artistry. You have the, what would be the binding portion of the book and the back. And this is a fairly large palette, you can see compared to the size of my hand, and it is pretty heavy, not super heavy, but it's definitely got weight to it, not something that would be easily traveled with. The top of the box opens up. You do get a mirror on the front flap here. And then inside you get a quote by Daenerys Targaryen, and then this part opens up to reveal a pop-up. There's another quote inside, that one is by Tyrion Lannister, and the pop-up, of course, is of the throne. So that is pretty cool. I wouldn't say that it's super practical, but I am guessing that most people who are buying this palette are not buying it for the practicality. They are buying it because they love Game of Thrones. So the packaging itself is very beautiful. It's got a lot of different detail and artistry. So there was a lot of effort that was put into the packaging. And then kind of the lower part of the box has a little tab, and the tab will slide out the actual portion of the palette that has the eyeshadows. And I'll read you the description by Urban Decay. It says, use this arsenal of 20 eyeshadow shades to declare your allegiance to House Targaryen, House Lannister, House Stark, or to defeat the White Walkers. The palette is inspired by various places in Westeros and by the strong women of the Seven Kingdoms. In terms of use suggestions, it says to apply primer first for crease-free color. It also says that the holographic transformer shades double as highlighters for the face. And those transformer shades are Bay of Dragons, King's Landing, Winterfell, and Hardhome. Is that pronounced Hardhome? I have watched Game of Thrones, but I am not by any means a super fan. So if some of these things I mispronounce, feel free to criticize me in the comments below. So let's go ahead and take a look at the shades up close. So you can see by the separation in designs, the kind of 4 families of shades that they have created. So I will separate the swatches accordingly to these 4 categories that they have in the palette, and we'll go left to right with the duos there, and then lastly we will apply the what looks like the holographic topper that's been separated from the other shades. So you have 4 eyeshadows that are in squared pans, and then the holographic topper that is in a circular pan. And as I always do, I will be applying these with an eyeshadow brush over eyeshadow primer. But I guess according to the suggestions, I will also do swatches of the holographic toppers with a more fluffy brush to see if they really would work as highlighters. All right, starting from the top, we're first swatching Take the Black. And this is a jet black with iridescent micro shimmer. Next is White Walker, which is described simply as a blue shift. Frozen North, described as a deep teal with iridescent micro shimmer. Super pretty. Next is Free Folk, which is a metallic silver. You got a few flecks of this teal color that went over. I'm gonna pick up a little more of that product. Doesn't seem to have gone enough on the brush. And I am layering that on top. And Hardhome, described as a sparkling white transformer shade. Very likely apply these with your finger on top of another, like cream or gel base. So maybe after we do brush swatches, we will do finger swatches of the transformer shades. Moving on to the second section, we start with Nymeria. This is a matte warm terracotta. Next is Winter is Here. A dark brown with iridescent micro shimmer. Next is Where Wood Leaves. This is a satin finish deep plum. Next is The Sight. A metallic green with iridescent micro shimmer. And Winterfell, which is an antique gold transformer shade. This one seems much more opaque, so I'm actually not sure how effective of a transformer shade it would be, since it would likely cover up whatever was underneath, at least with this application method. Okay, so here are the set of first 2 kind of portions. So the first upper half of the palette. All of these applied pretty smoothly. You can tell with your brush that the pans or the formula itself is pretty soft. and creamy. I like the color stories too. These shades match really well together, as do these shades, to create kind of a cohesive color match. So there you have a look up close. The finishes. All right, then we are going with Red Keep, which is a metallic warm copper. Next is Casterly Rock, a metallic dark bronze. Next is House Lannister, described as a matte peach. Next is Lannister Red, described as a matte burgundy brick. And King's Landing, described as a pale gold transformer shade. Next up we are swatching Stormborn, described as a metallic purple with iridescent micro shimmer. I'm adding a light second layer because it looks like the tail didn't get enough product there. Next is House Targaryen, described as a metallic pale rose gold. Next is Dothraki, described as a metallic gold. It's got a yellow-based gold. Next is Bend the Knee, described as a lilac with a blue shift. Beautiful color, although I feel like we've seen this color from Urban Decay before. And Bay of Dragons, described as a sparkling pink transformer shade. Alright, and there is the second half of this palette. Again, all of these shades seem to go on pretty smoothly, and even if initially there's some roughness, they smooth out very, very nicely. And again, I like the color stories and the color matches. Urban Decay seems to have done a pretty good job on that front. Alright, let's see how well these transforming shades work as highlighters. I'm going to do my best to get the color on an angled powder brush, but the pans are a bit small. Okay, so we're starting with Hardhome or Hardhome. Super flaky glitter. I do not think I would like this on my cheeks. Huh. You know what? As you press it in and kind of massage it in with the brush, the largest chunks kind of fly off the skin and you're left with more refined shimmer. So actually, afterwards, it doesn't look as gaudy. Let's apply a little more. Let's see what we get. I would be scared to use this just because all of this fallout here. But at the end of the day, kind of a pretty finish actually. Okay, next we're gonna try Winterfell. See, it has the same pretty chunky formula, but then most of it just falls off the skin, and you're actually left with a much more refined looking gold shimmer. I wonder if this shade is just a little too, even for deeper skin tones, I wonder if it's too like muddy to really be a good face highlighter. Let's pick up some more. Just layer that on top. Yeah. This one actually leaves a few flakes that aren't kind of massaging in. Third, we're gonna look at King's Landing. And glitter is just getting everywhere. So this one has more of a sheen as opposed to glitter. Going in with a second layer. And Bay of Dragons, which also has chunky glitter that mostly falls off. Going in with more product. This one actually has the most, or leaves behind the least amount of color, it seems. And to let you know, I am doing these swatches over a thin layer of foundation that I put over it that I then set with a layer of translucent powder. This one does build up pretty nicely. Okay, so there's what you get. The end result, actually, I'm not that mad about. They do look very pretty. I just think you're not going to want to contend with the amount of fallout and inability to control where the powder goes on your face. Of course, you could use a wet brush. You're not going to get as diffused of a finish when you do that, but that would help control the amount of flying away and fallout. All right, last up, we're gonna try these with some finger swatches. Let's see what kind of finish we get. Okay, first up is Hard Home. Next is Winterfell. Now, remember when I said I don't know that this would really be a topper because it's just too opaque. So unless you took a really small amount of product and dabbed it really lightly, I think at the end of the day, that's just going to be a straight eyeshadow. King's Landing and Bay of Dragons. This one actually has the least smooth texture. I noticed that when we were applying with the powder brush and with the finger swatches. Still very pretty though. All right, there are your 4 transforming shades applied via finger swatches. All right, so there is the eyeshadow palette for Urban Decay's Game of Thrones collection. Overall, I think this is a good palette. We didn't have any major issues with any of the shades showing good color or applying with a smooth finish. Some of them did need some bit of layering, but they all have good pigmentation. There's some super beautiful shades. I think my favorite shade overall might be Frozen North. I would be most hesitant to use the 4 transforming shades as highlighters, but other than that, I think this is a solid eyeshadow palette. The packaging is not the most practical, but again, I don't think people are going into buying any of these items with practicality as their main point. People are going to be buying these palettes because they love Game of Thrones. So if you are a Game of Thrones super fan, I do not think you will be super disappointed. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know which of the 4 groups of shades you liked the most. And of course, let me know if you have any other thoughts on this product or the collection in general. If you are a fan, does this collection disappoint you? Are you happy with the collection? And I hope this video was helpful to you if you were more on the fence about whether you want to purchase. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.